So just to drop a little gem, I've been speaking with a lot of mortgage people lately and just loan people in general. And I spoke with First Tech Financial yesterday about helping some of my clients get into their first home, buying the first home. And one of the things that they told me that they look for is a trade line that's been on your personal credit profile for 12 months. So even if you're having a hard time getting approved for primary trade lines, adding those authorized user trade lines do help you get approved, and they help you get approved for a larger limit. Think about it like this. If I'm a bank and I'm looking at your profile, right? And the largest credit line that you have on your entire profile is $500, what do you think is going to happen? I'm probably not going to give you that 20K credit card that you want. They're going to mirror the average limit that's on your personal credit profile. So when you have those larger limits from other people on your profile, that's when you start getting approved for those larger credit cards, paying for a trade line. So when you purchase, say, for example, you wanted to purchase a trade line, you don't have a family member who has a trade line or a credit account that they can add you to, right? So if that's the case, then you would have to purchase a trade line from someone who has 100% payment history, who has a low credit utilization, preferably under 15%. So that's what we're talking about when we say paying for a trade line. Sometimes, you have to pay for them. It depends on the age and the history. So typically, if you're looking at a 7 to 10 year line for like 10 to 20K, that can run you anywhere from 800 to 1,000. It just depends on what that person has. Personally, I try to go by the age, right? So if a credit card has like 5 years of age, that's probably worth anywhere between $300 and $500 for like a 2-month billing cycle. If you're getting a deal, some people are a little bit higher, but you have to make sure that you're doing business with someone who is going to guarantee that, because I've actually purchased a trade line from someone in the past and it never posted. So I sent them $1,000 Cash App, never posted, and they tried to blame it on me. So, sometimes there's people out there that just don't do good business, but just make sure whoever you get it from is going to guarantee that it will post or your money back, or that they'll find another card that they can replace it with that will post.
Was that a primary or authorized user that you purchased?
Authorized user.
For 1,000?
For 1,000. It had like a really high balance, really, extensive history on it. I had bought another one from the same lady. It was like a 30K, 10-year history, and it posted. So, I figured, hey, this one should post too, but it just didn't. I've seen trade lines raise a credit score 95, 100 points. I just had a client and we added, so he didn't really have anything on his credit profile, no collections, just like one old charge off. He didn't really have any credit accounts in his name. So he needed credit cards for his profile, right? Because you have to have that diversified credit profile. We talked about the data points last week. So you want to add anywhere between 2 and 5 years on average. Think about it. Your credit report holds 7 years. So if you don't have enough history, then you need to add something with, close to 5 to 7 years of history. That's going to give you the biggest jump, because if your average history is only 1 year right now, we want that to be closer to the 5-year range. So that's what's going to be needed for your credit profile to get that boost. But you want to make sure that you don't have any derogatory accounts, because I've helped people who have purchased trade lines in the past, and they've added trade lines, they've added authorized user trade lines to their credit profile, and they've had bankruptcies and other derogatory accounts, and I just didn't see as much of a boost as I would have hoped for them. I feel bad when I give people a trade line and they're like, oh, I only saw a 30 or 40 point boost. Like, I want to be up in the 90s, hundreds, so it just all depends on what your profile needs. Some people are just willing to take that risk, and that's fine, because overall it will help your credit profile, but it might not just give you the boost that you're looking for. So you just have to take that into consideration.
Someone asks, you can sell primary trade lines. You most definitely can.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Than AUs.
Yeah. And, a lot of the people that I know that claim to sell primary trade lines, they're very expensive and they don't post to all three bureaus. So, if you're going to pay for something and it's already going to be expensive, it's like you might as well go after the AUs for the trade lines, and then work on building your own primary trade lines off of the authorized user trade lines. So, and there's also trade lines that you can get where you can add history, like rent reporters, right? And these rental companies where you can backdate and tell them, hey, I've been at this place for 2 years, and I want to add this trade line to my profile. So they'll add the rental history to your credit profile. So you get the last 24 months of history, and that's considered a trade line as well. So there's also Credit Strong. That's a trade line. Trade lines can be any sort of account that's in your name or in someone else's name.
Absolutely. I actually had a client, credit file was decent. It was okay. He really didn't have the history that he needed. And we did stay posted. We went to Navy Federal. He was able to actually get a $75,000 auto loan. So he was really excited. And as far as my own testimony, I added a $50,000 primary trade line to my file right before I applied to get my mortgage loan, and got approved for a really high amount, low interest rate. So trade lines definitely can help you out, but you have to know when to add them, because if you add them to your consumer report and your credit file has collections or a lot of inquiries and things like that, you won't get the full effect or benefit from it as if you would if you had a clean file. We are talking about trade lines, but y'all feel free to, ask us some things as long as it's not too off topic. Yeah, so that was my experience with primaries. I actually sell primaries, like Nicole says. My primaries don't post to all three. You might get 2 out of the 3. You might get 1 out of the 3. But what I do, if it's, let's say, it is a vehicle that I'm looking for, I normally do my homework on the person that I am trying to get the loan from. So I find out what credit bureau they're pulling from, and I kind of navigate like that. So if I know they're going to pull from TransUnion, I'll look for an AU or a primary to make sure it posts on TransUnion. And another thing too, Nicole, that I kind of was like, okay, let me write this down. I heard you say in our last live that every quarter you add trade lines on your file. And I'm like, okay, maybe I need to do that. And why do you do that?
Because I use my credit a lot for personal and for business, right? So I'm able to leverage my personal credit profile to build my business credit. And every quarter, I might add new accounts personally, or I'm getting more inquiries. So every time I add a new account to my personal credit profile, my overall age gets reduced. And every so often I'll have accounts that drop off. Like I just had an auto loan that was old, paid for, it was giving me a ton of history, but it was 7 years old. So it fell off my credit profile. So when that happens, now my history is down to 1 year. So I went from an 800 credit score down to now I'm at a 760. And then Vantage says 745. So you can see the differences in scores, but nonetheless, my credit score dropped because my average age went down to 1 year. So that's primarily why I add trade lines so often, is because I got to keep my age up, because age is 15% of your credit score. So we want to stay as close to that 5-year mark as possible. I work with a lot of clients who just started building their credit, and that's one of the things that they lack. They don't have enough payment history to get into the 700s. And that's where trade lines can really become beneficial to someone who's looking to rebuild their credit. Maybe you'll only have 1 or 2 negative items left on a couple credit bureaus. And, we can work around it and see where the lenders pull from and be able to leverage certain credit bureaus for certain things. So you just got to be able to have a game plan and take action. But I'm always adding trade lanes, and I'm going to do a video soon just to show you guys what, when someone takes you off their credit file as an authorized user, what that looks like. Because one of the questions that I get a lot from people is, well, that's great, I can add the trade lines to my personal, but what happens when they take me off as an authorized user? Is my credit score going to drop? Well, my short answer is yes, it can drop. Has it happened to me? Absolutely. but you have to know where you're at data point wise, right? We talked about data points last week, and we want to make sure that all of our data points are, matching up, because sometimes when somebody takes you off as an authorized user, that account can come completely off your credit, but it can also stay on your credit, but the status will just say terminated. So when you're active, it'll say authorized user as the status, right, on your credit report. When someone takes you off as an authorized user, it'll say status terminated. And I have a bunch of trade lines that are still on my credit that I purchased that are authorized users, but it just says my status is terminated, but I'm still getting the history from those accounts. Those large limit balances are still on my credit profile, or large limit amounts are still on my credit profile. So it helps me get approved for larger limits, especially business wise, because when I first started building my business credit about 2 years ago, man, I couldn't get nothing but $500 if I could get an approval at all. So now I'm thankful to get all these vehicles in my business name. I just got $8,000 from Shell. I just got a bunch of other stuff approved. So, leveraging your personal credit for business isn't a bad thing.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, Nicole. When would you say is the best time to add Tradeline on?
That's a good question, because you got to plan accordingly. So for me, I would say when you're ready to start applying for something, you want to add the trade lines give yourself about 2 weeks, because trade lines take about 10 business days to post. So whatever the trade line statement date is, that is going to be our target number. So if the statement date is on the 5th of the month, every month, so December 5th, we'll say, or January 5th, we'll say, that trade line will probably post to your credit profile around January 20th, minus any holidays or weekends, because we're working off banking hours. And once that posts, time is ticking, because that thing is only going to be live for 2 billing cycles. We always, with me, I always let my clients know, hey, this is about to be removed. Did you want to extend it? And I've had a lot of people who do extend trade lines, so that's always an option. But, why waste more money when you can plan it out accordingly? So you just got to figure out what your goal is, when you're going to be applying for funding, and, work on a funding sequence that is going to be able to get you the most amount of money, be able to get you the most amount of approvals. How do you get the most amount of approvals? With the less amount of inquiries. So you press the submit button at the same time.
Trade lines also help with credit cards as well, guys, and it lowers the interest rate. So
it does. It can help lower your overall utilization as well. So yes. I had a client come to me, and one of their issues with their particular credit profile was their credit utilization. So they said, "Man, I got to get my utilization down to apply for this business funding. Let me add a couple high limit credit trade lines." So we added to this particular profile, we added about $80,000 worth of trade lines to his profile. And that helped him bring his overall credit utilization down. Of course, you still got to, pay it back, and you still got to work on paying your debt down, because it will affect you once those trade lines are removed. But it helped him lower his overall credit utilization by adding all of that additional credit to his profile.
Absolutely. And it also helps to lower, like you said, the debt to income ratio as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it sure does. The only thing I would say is, when you're buying trade lines to apply for a home, they don't want to see that you owe anybody money. If you do, they want to get that paid off, and they're going to work with you on an action plan to get most of your debt paid off, or what you can pay off, or it's going to affect your interest rate or the loan terms. So just be mindful that it can be different when based on what your goals are. So business funding, buying a home, buying a car, getting high limit credit cards. What is your goal? What do you want to do with your credit once the trade lines hit? Once your credit score is improved, you have to ask yourself, you have to be realistic. Because I ask that to a lot of people, what are you going to do with your credit once it gets to where you want it to be? Well, I don't know. I didn't think about that, because people aren't thinking it's real. They're like, well, it's probably not going to happen. Like, no, it's going to happen. So be ready, because I've had people buy trade lines and not do anything with it. So Don't just sit there and look at your credit score, look pretty, leverage it, be able to, get your return on your investment. That's the whole goal.
It's very important for you to have a game plan going into credit restoration and just where you want to go with it. Because like she said, you getting in and just sitting on it, it's not going to do any good, so definitely have a plan in place. It helps. It helps. It helps. It helps. Thank you all for everyone that's joining in. We're just talking about trade lines, the different type of trade lines, the use of trade lines, and the benefits of it. If anyone has any questions, y'all just please feel free to comment. We are answering. Let me think. What else can we talk about trade lines?
So with trade lines, one of the things I also like to mention to people is let's talk about American Express real fast. Okay. A lot of people like American Express. I like American Express. They have great benefits, right? But American Express does not report history. So when it comes to purchasing a trade line, a lot of us need history. So I personally don't even really offer American Express, but they're great. If you can get it free from a family member who has a low credit utilization, meaning they don't really use the card much, it's just there, great, get added. But with American Express, a lot of people are like, well, how do I get in with American Express? Because yes, American Express, they pull from Experian, but one of the back methods to get into American Express is to be added as an authorized user or to sign up for their American Express. I think it's like a savings card. They sell it at Walmart, because basically what you're doing is you're getting into American Express's system. Your social security number is now in American Express's system. And let me tell you something, American Express for business is powerful. Okay. There's so many different credit products. And as long as you have one card on your personal side, you can get in on the business side with American Express. And they're great cards. So I just wanted to drop that little piece of information. But when it comes to buying authorized user credit cards, I always recommend Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Buy cards with banks that you plan to build a relationship with. If your goal is to get a high limit credit card with Navy Federal, check out what Navy Federal credit cards would be available for you to purchase as an authorized user. If you plan to build with PNC, or any of these other banks like Barclays or Discover, whoever, add some of those trade lines to your profile, because it's always a good idea to buy trade lines with a bank that you plan to build a relationship with. So that's my gem. My goal was to get high limit credit cards so I can get higher funding amounts. And trade lines helped me achieve that. Because like I said before, I couldn't get approved for more than $500. I remember when I got up to a $1,500 approval, I thought I was doing something. But at the end of the day, as soon as you swipe that card for something, your credit utilization skyrockets. And now you just lost 50 points on your credit score because your credit utilization went up. So you got to be careful. But now that I have my highest credit card on my personal side is 24,000. So, it was worth the investment for me. Yeah, I've spent a lot of money on trade lines, but I met my goals. I have 4 autos right now. All interest rates are below 5%. My highest interest rate is a 4.89%. I just got approved for 2 other vehicles at a 3.99% because I do Turo as well. So adding trade lines helped me, because when you have more accounts on your credit profile that show paid as agreed, that show this long history, and you've never missed a payment, and your credit utilization is low, that speaks volume to people. And they're like, oh, okay, well, if they're paying everything else on time, we know we can trust them too. They're not risky for us. They're not a risky decision. And your interest rate is going to be based off your, how they view you as risky. So I always highly recommend pay attention to your interest rate, especially when you're searching for a vehicle. Does anyone have any questions? I know I tend to go off, but I'm just trying to give you guys as much value as possible. I like to, speak on facts too, like stuff that either I've gone through or that I've helped my clients go through, because I can't stand it when someone else is speaking on something, but they really don't know anything about it. And they have no experience with that stuff.
So I know you were saying about the trade lines, and sometimes with lenders and stuff, they see if you have like a balance. That actually happened to me when I applied for my mortgage loan, and it was a $50,000 auto. It was the account was opened up in 2017, and the balance was like 1,700, something like that. So the mortgage broker was really impressed with my file, but he did mention, like, hey, Brittany, if you can just pay off the 17, it would definitely help your interest rate go a little bit lower. So I'm like, okay. But in my mind, I'm thinking this is a primary. There's really no way I could pay it off. But, I just kind of went through the motion of letting him talk. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You have on the type of trade lines you have. I want to ask you, Nicole, so most trade lines that I encounter, they still have an ending balance. Is that all primaries? Feel like a balance, whether it's $1,000 or
typically, yeah, most primaries will have some sort of balance. So that's something that you need to be mindful of when you are adding primaries, because if you add a primary to your account, right, like an auto primary or something like that, when it first posts, it might show a larger balance than what you're expecting. So also with like Credit Strong, Self Lender, when those are primary trade lines as well, right? Whenever you add those, they're going to show that you owe the money that amount is for. So if you get a $10,000 credit builder account with Credit Strong, that $10,000 is going to show that you owe them $10,000 on your credit profile, which will affect your debt to income. Okay. And it can affect your approval odds. If a lender is looking at your profile, they're like, oh, wait, hold on. They already owe this person $10,000 and this is a brand new account. So when you are getting those, it needs to be a temporary thing, like add it. And then like within 45 to 60, maybe no longer than 90 days, have that puppy show as a zero balance. That's what's going to help you, because a lot of these credit builder loans, they're not meant for really long term unless you just don't have any installment history, period. And installment history is basically where you pay the same amount over and over and over until that balance is paid in full. Auto, home loans, student loans, those are all installment loan types of credit accounts. Those are all trade lines. Those are all primary trade lines. All of those, they're just in our name. So I just want to help instill to you guys like the risk of whatever situation you decide to do, understanding what you're getting yourself into, because it's really important that you make educated decisions when you are going into this and understand how it's going to affect you.
I heard you say that you can pay the account off and show a zero balance with a platform like Credit Strong. Mm-hmm. So how would you go about paying that off? Because
yeah, that's a good question. So with Credit Strong, this is the way that it works. So when you open up, they have a credit builder accounts anywhere from 1,000 up to 10,000, right? And whatever account amount you decide to get, that amount is going to show that you owe that amount. So we'll say $10,000, right? So now it's going to say, I owe $10,000 to Smart Credit. You're going to have to make at least like one payment to them. And I think the monthly payment due on that type of account is like $155 or something like that, right? So those accounts are kind of like savings accounts. You'll get your money back after. It's just a credit builder account, right? Once you pay that off, meaning once you close the account, it's going to show a zero balance. So you actually have to close the account, which, won't give you much history, but the reason for us to add those larger limits is just to show the larger limits and show that we're able to pay back debt as agreed. So once you close the account after a month or two with Smart Credit, it will show that you owe a zero balance, meaning you don't owe them anything. So now it's just a good trade line listed on your credit profile that is paid as agreed for a larger amount.
So to creditors, it's going to look like Nicole paid off this $10,000 debt in 2 months.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Because it doesn't, I think the bank that it reports on your credit is called like Austin Capital Bank, right? So it doesn't say Credit Strong on there. It makes it seem like, it's an actual bank and it's legitimate. It does report to all three bureaus, which is a great thing. And when you do sign up for a lot of those like credit builder accounts, it's no inquiry. So self-lender, no credit inquiry, credit strong, no credit inquiry. Even when you get like secured loans with your banks, like for example, Navy Federal, they have a pledge loan that you can get, which is considered a primary trade line. It's considered an installment loan. And it's basically your money, your cash that you're putting on your credit report. So if you have a bunch of cash sitting around, do a pledge loan with Navy Federal. It's an installment loan. It will help build a relationship directly with that bank or with Navy Federal. So that way they'll give you more credit products in the future. Let me tell you a little bit about my experience with that. So when I first joined Navy, my credit score was probably around a 650. And I applied for my first credit card with them fairly fast. They gave me a $500 credit line. I was devastated because I saw everyone else getting 25,000. I was like, oh my God, I can't get more than 500 to save my life. Right. So I did a pledge loan with them, I think for $3,500 at that time. I paid the pledge loan off in less than 6 months. Pledge loan is just a secured loan. I take my money, I pledge it to the company. They probably make a bunch of interest off it. And then I make payments every month as like it's an installment loan. And then it's paid off, zero balance, good to go. Right. So after that was paid off, I applied for another credit card with them, $20,000 approval. I was shocked. I said, what the hell? But I built a relationship with Navy Federal. I applied after hours because you don't want to apply Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5. You want to apply late at night when people are home from work. You want to make sure that the application information is legit. You want to make sure that you show enough money to get a $20,000 credit card. You can't say that you make $100,000 and expect to give them to give you 20% of your income on a credit card. It's just not going to happen. So after that, it was fair game from there, because the last credit card amount that you get approved for, usually a lot of banks will mirror that. So Navy Fed raised the bar for me, helped raise the bar for me. And that's one of my favorite banks to build a relationship with. So the pledge loan is extremely important with them. Not only is it a primary trade line, but it helps you build that relationship directly with Navy Fed. So that way they'll give you those excellent credit cards that they have. They got auto loans. I just got an auto loan with them for a 3.99% interest. So they even refinance auto. So if you have an auto right now and your interest rate is high, meaning it's above 5%, work on refinancing that puppy, because I had an auto that was an 18% interest rate. And a lot of people don't even know what their interest rate is for their autos. Find out. Okay. Your homework is to find out what your interest rate is on your auto loan. Okay. If it's anything above 5%, we want to work towards getting that puppy refinanced. And you can go directly to a credit union or the bank that you bank with, as long as you have close to like a 700 credit score, and you can refinance your auto. I refinanced with Navy when I had like a 680, and they gave me a 4.89% interest. So it's a little bit higher than it is now. But at that time, I went from an 18% to a 4.89. It saved me over $200 a month just on that interest reduction alone. So I was very happy to save $200 a month on my car payment.
Nicole, have you ever refinanced your vehicle and then switched it over to your business?
I haven't done that yet, but I know that it can be done, because when you're applying for an auto under your business, you can apply for an auto loan, and you can buy an auto with funding from your business. So you can definitely do that. I personally haven't done it, but I've heard of other people that have done it. They're becoming a little bit more stricter, in my opinion, because even with the recent autos that I got, they require, like Bank of America required that I went to a dealership, right? So what you could do with a dealership is trade in the auto and then finance another auto under your business name. Because Bank of America, they will finance you up to 120%. So you can roll over bad debt into a business auto loan, which might be beneficial for someone who's looking to buy a home, because one of the biggest issues with first-time home buyers and those of you that are looking to purchase your first home is going to be your debt to income based on your auto loan. They're going to tell you, if you can get that auto loan paid off, we got you. But guess what? That auto loan's 25,000 and that's all we got. So we're not interested in paying that auto loan off right now. How are we going to hide this auto loan? Hide it under your business.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you got to do. They're not going to know nothing. What they don't know, that won't hurt them.
Absolutely. Facts. Do anyone have any question for us on Tradelines? Feel free. Don't be shy.
Yes. Bank of America will allow you to get up to 4 autos per LLC or per corporation. Bank of America typically looks for a 700 FICO. They pull Experian. You need to have no more than 5 inquiries on your credit, preferably less. I helped a client with Bank of America, and we applied about 6 months ago. Their credit was a 689 with Experian, and they had more than 5 inquiries. And then we applied about 6 months later when their credit went over 700 with less than 5 inquiries, and we got approved. So the first time we were declined, second time we were approved. So it does matter. Those 2 data points are very important. The amount of inquiries that you have. So I don't like to go off topic, but last week we talked about data points. Inquiries were one of those data points. So if you have more than 5 inquiries and they're not tied to an open active line of credit, get rid of it. It's clogging it up and it's just hurting you more than it's helping you. So they're going to stick around for 2 years. They hold less value after 1 year, but they still just look really ugly, so get those out of there.
Absolutely. And we're going to do a live giving you guys gems on how to remove inquiries in a short amount of time as well. We got to put that together.
Yeah, for sure, because that's a game changer, and you guys can do that on your own. So maybe we can get that together next week for everybody and go over, inquiries, the importance of getting them off of there, because I know a lot of people that I come into contact with, they got a ton of inquiries from dealerships, right? So when you are going to a dealership, tell those mother lovers to not pull your credit more than 2 times. They know what, tell them, look, this is what my credit score is. My best score is with TransUnion. Find you a bank that pulls TransUnion, pull my shit twice and don't run my shit no more, right? Or you can go directly to like your bank. So we don't really have Zoom meetings. We just go live every Thursday. As of right now, things are always changing because we want to be able to provide you guys with as much value as possible. But as of right now, we're just Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern. Every Thursday, IG Live.
Absolutely. Do you ladies offer services and knowledge personally for a fee? I know Nicole has a lot of ebooks that I believe you just kind of just give away.
Yeah, I have a ton of shit. If you go to my website, therealnicolescott.com, we got a ton of ebooks. We have a ton of shit. If you go to my Instagram and my link tree, there are a ton of products that you can go through and figure out what's going to help you in your situation. I've already had a dealership pull my credit over 10 times. How could I correct this problem? Well, see, you're one of those people I was talking about, and it sucks because they just take advantage of people. They don't even tell you how many times they're going to run your credit. So I'm going to ask you this. Did you approve them to run your credit 10 times, or did you approve them to run your credit 1 time? So I'm going to assume the answer is 1 time. So you don't have to type if you're driving. And if that's the case, you call the credit bureau and you tell them that they are not authorized, because I doubt that you even signed anything 1 time. Exactly. I doubt you even signed anything for them to pull your credit. You just probably gave them your credit or put it on a credit application, which a credit application means once, right? So if you did not get approved for any of those, call the credit bureau, tell them you did not authorize it. What I do is very simple. Is this the fraud department? No. Can you transfer me to the fraud department? I didn't authorize these inquiries. Can you remove them? Thank you. Bye. Oh, I've already sent you all that paperwork, sir. Yep, we've already sent that to you. Go ahead and look at my file. You got to play the game with them. So that's the quickest way.
They can actually look in the file. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they'll act like they are, because I've called several times and I'm like, they're like, oh, did you file FTC report? Yep, I filed an FTC report. I've already sent it to you guys. Yep, I've already done that. I've already contacted the company. They told me to contact you. Like, I always put it back on the bureau, and they'll like go and act like they're looking at something, but I hear roosters in the background, so I'm sure they're not doing shit.
Roosters.
I'm like, oh, where are you guys calling from? Oh, we're in Georgia. Our office is out of Georgia. Yeah, I bet. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Cool.
Anything else you guys want to ask us while y'all have us here?
Yeah, let's talk about Tradelines. Let's talk about Tradelines. If you guys are interested in purchasing a Tradeline, let us know. I specialize in authorized user Tradelines, and Brittany specializes on pretty much all Tradelines, so she can help you. I also have a secret lenders list that I put together, which is basically Tradelines that are primary, right? Primary Tradelines, but there's also Tradelines in there for your business. So there's a lot of no PG Tradelines in there for your business. And I also, if you're looking to build business credit, I also have a business credit ebook. And if you go to my website, therealnicolescott.com, or if you go to the link tree, you'll find my business credit ebook that has a ton of different Tradelines for businesses, right? Of course, you can always personally guarantee your business, which is basically fast tracking your business credit. But if you're not ready to do that, then, some of these other options, tier 1, some of the tier 2 options, they don't pull your personal credit. So those would be a good way to start building that business credibility, because all business credit is your ability to repay back your debt as agreed. That's all they care about. If we give you this, are you going to pay it back? Okay, cool. And you got to pay it back on time. No questions.
A responsible adult.
Yep, that's all they want.
Yep.
You can go to my website. I have all my packages on my website, therealnicolescott.com. I got all my ebooks on there. I have 3 different packages. I do coaching. I work with a lot of credit repair agents who are looking to start a credit repair business, or others that are looking, any type of service-based business that are looking to start a business. We work on your content. We work on your branding. We work on your systems, operations, hiring people to help you scale, build your business, and pretty much just get you all together. So a little bit about myself. My name is Nicole Scott. I've been in business operations for about 15, probably 20 years. I'm old as fuck now, but I started really young, and I went to college right out of high school. So I've been working with startup businesses and smaller businesses for the past 20 years. And I've helped 2 startup businesses scale to the multi-millions, and lost my corporate job back in 2016. Hated life ever since then, because I was an owner of that business, a partner, and I literally lost everything because the business went out of business due to my partner. So it was like a really messed up time in my life. That's when my credit score went to a 484. And I finally quit my job March of last year. So March of 2021, March 31st, 21 was my last day at corporate America. And I hate having a fucking job. Like, I'm really good at what I do, but I just can't stand like being treated like I was being treated. So I quit, took a chance on myself, and here I am, busier than ever. And I help people with their credit. I do Turo, business coaching. I stay busy. And that's a little bit about me. I'm a hard worker, and I'm just here to see everybody win. You know what I mean? I'm not here to take money from anybody that, not into that type of shit. I hear a lot of people getting scammed, but we're the real deal, and that's what we're all about.
Absolutely. And a little bit about me. What made me want to get into credit restoration is because I was tired of being scammed. I was flocking out hundreds of thousands of dollars to people that saying that they can do this, they can do that. And when it came down to it, 6, 7, 8 months, my credit score hadn't moved. So last year, I was like, it can't be that hard, right? So I just really started investing in courses and classes and just networking with like-minded people to learn different gems and different ways of bettering my credit, removing the negatives, trade lines, this, that, and the other. And I did so well on mine. I started having people reach out to me. So I've been in the business maybe a little bit over a year. I'm still a newbie. I'm still learning. And that's one reason why I really like to connect with Nicole, because she has a lot of knowledge in the business. And if y'all see me, my eyes big and shaking my head, because I'm taking it in like a sponge with you guys. Like, but she has great ebooks, and we talk every so often, and she just tells me, different things. I call her like, no, what can I do with this? And she don't mind holding back information. And that's what it's all about. We're not charging anything for this information. It's free. And we just want to see everyone win,
Yeah, you got to be creative when it comes to credit, because sometimes, like, we just got to do what we got to do. But,
So, BB, will you be having I have free consultation, so inbox me. We can definitely pull your consumer report, look at it, come up with a game plan, and make it happen. We will give her the blueprint 32 to 45 working boom days.
I'm trying to not work so hard because I got a 2-year-old daughter that needs me, and I didn't quit my job to work 80 hours.
Oh, gosh. Girl, I've been helping people out with this EIDL because, they're about to shut it off the end of this month, but they're highly suggested for people to get it in for tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah.
What are the requirements for that? You have to have your 2019 or 2020 tax returns?
It's 3 different parts, right? So the primary is overall the EIDL. So to apply for the primary EIDL, you have to have your 2019 tax returns. With a few people that I'm working with, a lot of them don't have it, but you still have to go through the motion of applying. Let you, right? And then they send you an email probably later on that day or the next day saying, hey, we invite you to apply for the advanced EIDL or targeted EIDL, right?
Ooh, wow.
The target is $5,000. You don't have to pay it back. They call it an advance, but it's really like a grant because you don't have to pay it back. And the requirements are you must have an active bank account, and the address that you use has to be in a low income area. So they actually have a website. You can put the address in, and as long as it's in purple, you qualify.
Wow.
And they gave me my money earlier this week. It was pretty. Yeah, $15,000. Take that, invest in your credit, guys.
Man, that's crazy. I just talked to someone, and he said that he was declined for the EIDL because his address was not considered a low income one. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's crazy. I had applied for the EIDL, and they just sent me something, but I've been so busy. I haven't had a chance to even look at it, and all that shit that they talk is like foreign language to me. So I'm probably going to need your help with that, because
I got you.
I had someone help me get the, what was that called? The PPP, which was, that's always a blessing. But,
yeah.
Again, you got, the PPP wasn't necessarily credit related, but the SBA, who basically is backing all of these EIDL loans, those are the people that have all the money with the low interest rates. And I've spoken with so many people from the SBA because they've been around for years, right? They're nothing new. They're just real popular now. And they have the best small business loans, but you have to have a 700 credit score. They've already told me, because I've called for so many of my clients, no, you have to have at least a 700 credit score. And there's so many different lenders that work for the SBA. You don't know who they're going to pull from. So you need to make sure your lowest credit score is 700.
Absolutely. Facts.
We are talking about Tradelines and how to use them to help leverage your credit. It all starts with personal credit. Personal credit is the gateway to success. I didn't really realize that until I was older, but my whole life, I was able to live a nice lifestyle based on credit, right? Buying cars, buying houses. I didn't have all the cash to buy that crap, but I leveraged my credit. And I've even gone through the dumps where I had a 44 credit score back in 2016, 2017. And now back winning.
400.
A 484.
484.
A
Okay.
484. Yeah, it was pretty fucking bad. I think hey, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it all the way. And I fucked that shit up. Whew, I'm surprised I didn't file bankruptcy, but I'm glad I didn't, because
Yeah.
all of it is gone now. I did like pay some places that I valued, like I owed Chase some money. So I said, okay, I'm gonna square up with Chase. But you just got to pick your battles wisely. Anything can be removed off your credit report. You just have to stay consistent. I did not get here overnight. It does not happen in 60 days. It does not happen in 90 days. It took me a year to get here. Okay. So you just have to stay consistent. And believe me, there were days where I was like, man, I'm never going to get to the goal. Like I didn't start getting these high limit credit cards until like June. My birthday, I was like, happy birthday to me. I'll take this 20K from Navy Fed. Thank you. And since then, Navy Feds increased my credit to 24,000. So in less than 6 months, they gave me an extra 4 bands on my credit line with them, which is going to help me get approved for higher amounts on my business side. So that's why it's so important to start building your personal credit profile up high so you can build 10,000 businesses. You can buy shelf corporations that have age on them. Use your personal credit profile to build business credit for all of these different corporations. Get the inquiry taken off, rinse and repeat.
So what was your secret as far as, I heard you say they gave you like was it like $1,000 Navy Federal credit card, and then you said within 6 months that boosted you up to 24. So what was it? You just kept it the spending low and paying it on time?
Yeah, well, actually, no, I was spending a lot. So one of these days we're gonna have to talk about how to manufacture spend, right? Mm-hmm. So I was manufacturer spending because I want to get my limits higher. So meaning I was putting probably $15,000 to $20,000 worth of purchases on that card constantly for like a couple months, right? But I would pay it off quick, fast. Okay. And they were seeing that. So over about I got the card in June. And I think the billing statement that I got the notice was like October. I think it was October. So 4 months, they gave me $4,000 increase because I was putting all those charges on there. So you have to know how to raise the bar. If you don't use your credit, they're not going to give you more credit. Like if you call Capital One and say, hey, I only have a $500 credit line, can you raise my credit limit? They're going to ask you, why do you want to raise it? You don't even use the balance that we give you. Well, I want to, if I was me, I would say I'm buying furniture, so I want to make a large purchase. They might increase it, but places are hard to get increased unless they see you constantly using that balance and, getting closer to that credit limit every month. And they're like, oh, well, let me give you a little bit more, you could use it. But that's one of the hacks, to get higher trade lines. And then, of course, just having higher limits listed on your credit profile. I really didn't start getting higher limits until I added trade lines, until I added those higher amounts. I added probably about three or four high limit trade lines before I got that 20K card. So I added I think it was a 35K. I'm going to do a video on it so I can show you guys everything that's left on my TransUnion right now that was an authorized user account. And so you guys can kind of see how it shows and what to expect and stuff like that. But to this day, TransUnion is my highest because I still have trade lines that were terminated that are listed on my profile. And guess what? Navy Fed pulls TransUnion. There's a lot of great places out there that pull TransUnion. So now
it does as well.
PenFed pulls Equifax. So that's really a good thing.
What
about what?
Alliant.
I'm not sure who Alliant pulls from. I just got one of my clients a bank account with them, but he hasn't applied for like any credit products. So that was one of the banks that's been on my radar because a lot of people were saying that they give out high limits too. So I just got a client with them. So we'll see who they pull. Let me see if I can look it up now because I always like to know who they pull. But yeah, Equifax. Not a lot of places really are like Equifax based, but PenFed is Equifax and Citibank is Equifax. So if you want to do like the Citibank Costco card, that's Equifax. You know, when you initially look at it, they say, oh, they pull all three, but most of these places don't because they don't want to pay for all three. They just have one bank that they primarily use. Let me do some more research on that. But, you know, a lot of these banks and who they pull from are in my secret lenders list. So if you go to my link in my bio, go to the secret lenders list, it's free. Sign up for it. It's got a ton of different banks, who they pull from, what kind of scores they're looking for. And if you're not sure like what your profile needs to get to your goal, then reach out to one of us and let's do a consultation, because if you don't know, you're going in blind, and that's very dangerous. You know, you want to make sure that you understand what your profile needs in order to be successful, because you got to have a plan. You can't just add trade lines and expect them to do all the work.
And another thing that I did too, Nicole, to kind of like help my credit file as well, is I went to like 4-5 different credit unions. I opened up a CD, and then I opened up a secured loan against the CD.
Yeah.
But I made sure it was revolving, because they'll try to put an installment, right?
Right.
Almost did. And I basically recycled my money.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I would have it set up to where, like, let's say Navy Federal, that one's due on the 4th, and I had BT&T due on the 8th. So I kind of spaced it out to let it report, and then I'll just literally recycle my money. I did like 3-4 months.
Yep.
And then I took them all the money, paid off each one of them, because it's literally taking the same money and just paying it off out. So I got like 4 to 5 months showing. So on paper, it looks like I paid off like almost $100,000 worth of debt in 5 months.
Yeah.
But it was just me recycling. And I feel like that probably helped me a lot too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about with the pledge loan with Navy Federal. That's what you do, is you put your cash on your credit report, and then you use that same cash and you go do the same thing with these other credit unions. So you can literally add all these primary trade lines to your credit report using your cash. You know, let your money work for you. So Alliant actually pulls from TransUnion, which is great for people that are, you know, heavy on the TransUnion. And, you know, I can't really see what, like, no bank has a credit, like a minimum credit score that they're going to approve you on. You could still have a 700 credit score and get declined, right? Because that's not what banks use. Yes, they want you to have a 700 credit score, but they look at your data points. They look at your credit profile first, and then they look at your credit score. I have a like credit score. My FICO score is like 770 right now. And Equifax, I applied for PenFed, which pulled Equifax. They declined me because I had too many balances on cards. And PenFed straight told me, they said, the reason why you were declined is because you have too many open balances, meaning I have too many credit cards, because I have like 15 to 20 credit cards. And I think at that time I had small balances on maybe like 7 of them, but I had balances on too many cards. So that's why I was declined with a 770 credit score. It sounds stupid, right? Like, I have such a great credit score, but I was still declined. Data points. So how do you get a Navy Federal account? It's so hard. I heard. Whew, that's a whole nother topic. Yeah, you can definitely get in. You know, YouTube is going to be your best friend when it comes to asking these type of questions, because that's really where I found out about the Navy Fed hack and how to get in. But basically, you just call and say that your father was in the service and he's passed away, and you don't have any of his paperwork. Unfortunately, he's passed away. And, you know, he always spoke so highly of you, or highly of Navy Fed. And now you want to join because your goal is to buy a home and you want to do your home loan with Navy Fed. So you want to go ahead and get your account open. So let's go ahead and do it, you know? So you just got to go in there confident. If you feel like the phone rep isn't like vibing with what you're saying, hang up and call back and do it again. You got to be confident. If you get nervous, you start talking too much, you're going to talk yourself out of it. So just get your mind right. Smoke you a little sun before if you need to, calm down. It's okay. My father was in the Navy. He passed away, but I want to go ahead and he had your account with you guys, and he always spoke so highly of you. So now I want to open up an account with you guys. And the cool thing about Navy, it's only $5 to get signed up with them, even though I recommend, a larger amount if you can, because again, you can recycle this money. What happens is when you open up a bank account, your initial deposit with that bank is going to get you your initial bank rating, right? So if you do a larger amount, maybe this is all the money you have, you're just using this money to basically get your bank rating with this bank. Put all that money in that account and then transfer it out. We're just looking for that initial deposit amount. So that way it speaks volume to them. When you go and apply for things with them and you're looking to get large amounts of funding, but you only have $5 in your bank account, that's going to be a problem for them. Navy Federal is a relationship bank. Okay. That means they want to have a relationship with you. You might have to give a little to get a little, and that's okay. No, they might, but there's so many, Stan Smiths out there. There's so many, what's another common name? Larry Miller. There's so many common names. They just literally have to put a name in there. So you could probably give them a family member's name and it would suffice. They're not going to go and research it and make sure that they have his DDT 14 number. If they ask for it, hey, I don't have it. He passed away. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm ready to get signed up. I know that.
Mm-hmm. Another way is if you know someone that actually has a Navy Federal account. Every member has an access number, and you can ask for the access number. And with that, they'll also let you open up an account as well. But you have to be careful with that, because if anything goes wrong,
don't give your access number to nobody you don't trust.
Right, to hand that out.
Yeah, because I did that at first with a couple of my clients, and I was like, I probably shouldn't have given him my access number to open up an account, because I don't know how it's going to end. And I just want to make sure that my relationship is golden all the way through, because building relationships is not just a one-way street when it comes with these banks. And that's why I always tell people, the trade lines that you get, be careful, because a lot of people, when they're first starting to build credit, they get these secured credit cards, but now they're hostage, because these secured credit cards, they have your money, so they don't care. And if you cancel, that's the only way you're going to get your money back. When you cancel, it's going to hurt you, because now you got this closed account. You're no longer getting history from that account. And you never want to close something once you have it open. But I'm telling you, these secured credit cards, they have you hostage. So always look for cards that graduate. So with Navy Fed, they have a secured card. So if you don't qualify for anything at Navy, they have a secured credit card that you can build with. And after about 7 months, they will graduate you and give you your deposit back. Same with Discover, same with Amazon. Amazon's actually a store card, so it is good for your credit mixture, but that's a primary trade line. So always look for credit cards that you can build a relationship with. I'm not trying to be held hostage forever. That you're never going to be able to do anything for me. So why not build with a bank who will be able to give you a home loan, who will be able to give you an auto loan, who will give you those high credit card balances with the low interest rates. That's what we're looking for, guys. So Navy Fed is one of those banks. PenFed is a great bank. Any sort of federal credit union or community bank is a really good option. A lot of people sleep on these little hole in the wall banks, but hey, as long as they are FDIC insured, it is all good in my book, because those are the banks that got the money. Bank of America and Chase ain't giving a shit, because Chase has a 524 rule. If you've gotten 5 cards in the last 24 months, they are going to be a no-go for you. And I'm constantly using my credit. So ain't no way in hell I'm only going to get 5 new credit accounts in the last 24 months, So you just have to know what you're up against and just build those relationships, because you can think of it like this. If you build a personal relationship with a bank, If they have a business side, which most banks do, now you can go over to the business side, start building that relationship on the business side, and use your personal credit to back your business and be able to leverage your more credit for your business. It's all based on personal credit.
That's a whole nother lane.
Ooh, is it ever? It's a fun lane, but we'll have to have that for another day, because we've given you guys a lot of great information tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We went over our time. I appreciate you guys joining, and we're again live every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on Instagram, talking about credit. Every week, we're going to be talking about a different topic, and I'll try to drop more notice to you guys. I'm really bad about that because I'm so busy. Plus, I have a 2-year-old. But we're dropping new topics every single week that will help you get to the goal faster, because that's our goal, is to see you win, right? And anything that we can do to help you get to the goal faster, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.